Police in England and Wales have been accused of undermining open justice by magistrates by dealing with serious and violent offenders with out-of-court disposal orders, meaning that due to the lower punishment, offenders can be back out on the streets almost immediately when in fact they should have been locked up. Figures from the Ministry of Justice have shown that between June 2021 and June 2022, more than 200,000 out-of-court disposal orders were given in punishment, ultimately meaning that in many cases the offender had zero punishment and zero deterrent to commit more crime. Although some of the orders dished out were deemed by the Magistrates Association to have been harsher than magistrates would have imposed, the majority of them seem to have not been. But the issue here is the lack of deterrent for offenders of serious and violent crimes. Out-of-court disposal orders are meant for very low-end offences and first-time offenders, but the Magistrates Association found that they were being dished out by police for offences including domestic abuse, repeat knife offenders and hate crimes, which they say the offenders should have been imprisoned for. The Magistrates Association say that the increase in the use of out-of-court disposals has occurred haphazardly, without appropriate oversight and scrutiny, and represented a troubling and largely unchecked transfer of power from the courts to the police. I don't know where the magistrates have been hiding, but the public have been seeing this for quite some time. Out-of-court disposal orders cover a range of acts, such as a caution for a first-time offender to community resolutions which simply require the offender to apologise and admit their crime. In fact, community resolution orders, which require admittance and an apology, rose by almost 40% from 102,000 4 years ago to 139,000 today. With the police wanting to be ever more transparent and honest with the public so as to help rebuild trust and confidence, it also appears that an investigation found that although the police forces are supposed to publish a scrutiny panel findings, which are supposed to scrutinise these out-of-court disposal orders, among other things, out of the 43 territorial police forces, just four of them did not have one of these panels whatsoever. And the majority, or many, of the remainders that did have a panel simply didn't publish their findings. Mark Beattie, the Magistrates Association chairperson, said the increasing number of serious offences dealt with by out-of-court disposals seems to be developing unchecked. There needs to be a national review by the government and senior judiciary to ensure the out-of-court disposal system operates in the interests of justice with proper transparency and accountability, and that it does not fly under the radar of good quality justice. The problem is, Mr. Beattie, the police will do what they can to get away with what they can, whether that's something that's unlawful or simply a policy or procedure that they don't want to do because it make them look bad. They have been left unchecked to build this now organisation that can pretty much do as it pleases with weapons to help them do that. They've found ways to manipulate the law, to manipulate justice, along with manipulating the organisational structure in order to protect their jobs. And I'm speaking about senior plod here, not the lowly PC. And it's been allowed to progress for far too long. And now we've been left with an all but dysfunctional police service run by criminals of one degree or another. And talking of degrees, many of these are Freemasons, which mean that they've taken a pledge over that of their police pledge in order to protect and back up their Mason buddies, which doesn't fly these days, as too many people know it's going on. This use of out-of-court disposal orders is nothing compared to the other crimes and breaches of policy that police forces across the country are involved in and actively covering up. And it's about time Parliament started to treat this as a failing public service business rather than a police force, and send in the cleaners to wipe the slate clean and start again. I would also be very interested in seeing the statistics on those who were given out-of-court disposal orders to see if there was some kind of, pattern to their, shall we say, preferred offenders.